Good afternoon, Jeff Dawson from Dallas, Texas. It is a brilliantly blue sky today. Temperatures are nice, but they're going to descend into the 20s this evening. But it's January, and we have had a very mild winter so far, and that's a good thing. We're not getting all of this heavy snow that some of the Midwestern and Northeastern states are getting, but we get our snow and we get it when we don't. But I turn on the news and I listen to these idiots talk about it. My God, you think the whole United States is about to shut down because we got a couple of flakes? Sensational news coverage, a waste. All they're doing is trying to scare the hell out of you. And talking about sensationalism, let's look at the coverage going into Super Wildcard Weekend. I mean, every channel was spouting it. Oh, this was just going to be the greatest weekend of football ever on record, and we're going to have a game on Monday night, and blah, 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 and what a bunch of crap. Because it did not lead up to the hype. It led up to the biggest letdown I can ever remember. There wasn't but maybe one game that had decent play and drama, and it sure wasn't the Chiefs and the Steelers 42-21. What type of crap is that? I have a friend who's a Steelers fan, and he was all excited. Big Ben's going to make the playoffs. And I said, Big Ben's going to get stomped. You guys sneaked into the playoffs. And usually when the Steelers play, Kerry and I have a very active discussion going on. Not this time. Not this time at all. All he said was, I hope Ben doesn't play in the second half. And I said, Tomlin won't bench him. And he goes, I know. And he didn't. And what a way to end your career. Pathetically bad. Horrible. Horrible. Still horrible. Steelers need to think about changing coaches. Tomlin's been good for them for a long time, but everybody needs change now and then. The Steelers need to change. The Bills and the Pats. Belichick, we all know, is a legend. He's got the rings to prove it. They had a rebuilding year. They got a lot more than that. 47-17. What type of game was that? Blowout. Nothing to see here. Nothing. You got the Bucks and the Eagles. The Eagles got in on a prayer. They're probably praying they shouldn't have gone. I mean, how embarrassing. 31-15, and they were never in the game. Never. But somebody had to go. This just proves to me there's too many damn teams in the playoffs. When you get a weekend like this. And let's see. Oh, what a stunner last night was. The Rams and the Cards. Well, you got to find out how overrated Kyler Murray is. Extremely overrated. Yeah, the Cardinals look good about 3/4 of the season, and then they hit their drought. Things started falling apart because teams started figuring out how to disrupt Kyler, and we saw him not disrupted, destroyed. He was destroyed last night. 34-11. Wasn't that exciting to watch? No, I was watching Hogan's Heroes because that was more exciting. And I got to see Helga. She's hot. Both of the guys who played Helga are hot. And if you didn't know it, Bob Crane married the second one. So that was a true letdown. So which two games of the, was it 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6 games, Which had some excitement? Well, that would have been the Bengals and the Raiders. I'm not going to say it was a pretty game. I'm not going to say it was an ugly game. But at least there was a bit of drama at the end until Carr threw the interception. In fact, one of the guys who lives at that hotel played for the Raiders for 3 years. So I had a little interest there so I could chat with him. And when Carr threw the interception, I said, what do you think about that? And he goes, he sucks. Okay, well, that's kind of been the moniker on Carr. But that was actually the most exciting game. And no, I haven't forgotten one. I haven't forgotten about the Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49er fiasco, because that's all it was. Anybody who thinks that was a good game didn't watch it. Yeah, the final was 23-17. But in the fourth quarter, that was the ugliest fourth quarter I have ever watched. And I'm an Oklahoma State fan, so I've seen some ugly football, but not like this. Penalty, review, penalty, review. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. Which team? It's not which team's going to win. The question was which team's going to lose. Who wants to lose the game? And neither side raised their hands. The Cowboys get pinned with 2 minutes to go. They're deep in their territory. In 3 plays, they pick up 60 yards. They've run out of timeouts. It's obvious Dak Prescott doesn't understand the rules that the umpire has to set the ball, not the center. Time ran out. Cowboys lose. Refs run off the field. Dallas fans throw trash and bottles at the refs. How classy was that? Very classy. Very pathetic and sad is what it is. But that's what fans have become nowadays. They don't get their way. They blame it on everyone but the problem. And the problem with the Cowboys is nobody knows what the problem is. But ever since Prescott had his calf injury, he's played scared. Elliott for $13 million a year, he hasn't earned anything. And Pollard, he's their real running back. He's explosive. He looks for holes. He tries to find holes. Zeke doesn't. He just runs up to the line, falls over. He's way overpaid, but Jerry's stuck with him. Good job. So you got 2 players making about $51 million a year. And what do they have to show for it? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. Nothing but mediocrity. And that C that's on Prescott's jersey, that needs to come off. In fact, no Cowboy needs to have that C on their jersey until they earn it. And no one is earning it. That's offense or defense. Not one of them is standing up and holding anybody accountable. You show me someone. Where was Parsons and Vander Esch Sunday? Where was Lawrence? And when you look at the roster, talent-wise, the Cowboys have more talent than any team out there. But they're sure not playing like it because no one's holding them accountable. Nobody. So is that McCarthy, Moore, or Quinn's fault? You could probably say McCarthy has something to do with this. But then if he doesn't know the pulse of his team, he doesn't know what to fix. Moore's been calling good plays. Prescott just can't execute them. Good schemes, defense isn't executing it. So there is a real problem with the Dallas Cowboys. And let's be honest, I'm a Packers fan, first and foremost, but I can't stand Aaron Rodgers. After the crap he pulled before the season started, and then the crap with COVID, he should not be there. He should be gone. But sadly, the Packers are going to play the Niners in Green Bay at Lambeau, and they are going to stomp a mud hole. Because Garoppolo is not a premier quarterback. We saw that against the Cowboys. Who's going to lose this game? It was absolutely pathetic. But this is really sad. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys have more talent than any team in the NFL, and they don't know how to utilize it. And a head coach can scream and holler and yell and pull all the psychology and books out that he wants to, but is he connecting with the players? And if you can't connect with the players, then nothing's going to change, because that was my goal when I coached. My goal was to get the kids to coach themselves. And the day that happened, I'd done what I started out to do. I don't see that with the Dallas Cowboys. I see a team in utter confusion and disillusionment. They don't know where they're going. They don't know how to do it. They don't have the mental discipline or toughness to do it. They are an example of what happens when you don't have leadership and accountability. That's the biggest problem for me, on the Dallas Cowboys. No one's held accountable. Show up, do your job half-assed, get paid, and go home. And that's the way they play. And that is not the mark of a champion. But then it doesn't help when your team leads the NFL in penalties. Does it? No. And the Niners aren't any better. And that's pretty much what we endured during that fourth quarter. Penalty, 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 review, penalty, penalty, penalty. It was a pathetic exhibition of football at this level. Now, when it comes to penalties, I've had a problem with them all year long, especially holding and pass interference. Unless a lineman is bulldogging you to the ground, let it go. Then these guys are 350 pounds. Of course, they're going to be pushing each other around. It's what they do. It's what they're paid to do. But unless you're bulldogging somebody, let it go. And on pass interference, I mean, when you get down to it, the most athletic and fastest players are your safeties, your corners, and your receivers. They are the best. So there's going to be a lot of hand checking. There's going to be some tugging and pulling. It's just the nature of the beast. It's what they do. But to just touch a receiver and here comes a flag. Here comes a flag. Here comes a flag. And the one rule I really don't like is this defensive pass interference where it's 5 yards and automatic first. Such crap. That is just crap. I've never been a fan of that. Just 5 yards and you get a first down. It's not. The intent of the rule was questionable at best, but to give somebody a first down on 5 yard penalty, no, that rule needs to be thrown out. It's ridiculous. You know, let's go back to the guys that played in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, where they had to fight for the ball. And I think of Jerry Rice. I think of Carmichael with the Eagles. I think of the Pearsons with the Cowboys. I mean, there's a slew of great receivers. And they didn't have all these prissy rules. They played the game hard the way it was designed to be. So those rules need to be revamped. I mean, unless you're dragging a receiver to the ground or you get your hands in his face, obscuring the ball or pushing him out of bounds, I mean, just being really physical, let them play. Because how many times do you see the receiver push the defender off Michael Irving and there's no flag, but the defender barely touches him, puts his hand on his back or touches his arm. Oh, there's 15 yards. Oh, that's bullshit, man. That's just bullshit, and it's killing the game. Replay is killing the game. We saw that in the Rams game last night. They had a review. Hell, it had to last 3 minutes on where the ball was placed, and then McVay with the Rams threw his challenge flag out because he didn't like the call, and then they overturned it. Man, stop this foolishness. Let's just play the game. Just play the game. But yeah, the Cowboys, they are pathetically underperforming. Pathetically. It's very sad. So what are we up for this weekend? The Bengals and the Titans. Hooray, the Bengals finally won a playoff game after a 31-year drought. I don't care. Good for them. Wah, wah, wah. They're going to get their butts kicked. Titans are going to crush them. So that's going to be a laugher. But the Niners and the Packers, as much as I want Aaron Rodgers to lose, because I was sick of the crap he pulled before the season and then his line about having COVID, I believe the Niners are going to wish they had not gone to the frozen tundra of Lambeau. So that leaves us with the Rams and the Bucks and the Bills and the Chiefs. Now, the Bills and the Chiefs, I believe, is going to be the best matchup of the weekend. Both are high-powered offenses. Defenses, yeah, they're okay. But they can score. And they can score fast and they can score a lot. So that should be a good shootout. Go back to the days of the run and shoot of the Houston Oilers. Yeah, I'm old enough. I remember the Houston Oilers and their fight song. Or the Atlanta Falcons when they ran the run and shoot. The San Diego Chargers, not the LA Chargers or any of this crap. So that should be really good. And the Rams and the Bucks, that one's kind of up in the air. Because, yeah, Stafford really did have a good game last night. No doubt about it. Brady's had some good games. And you can't count Tom Brady out. He's been here so many times. I get sick of the announcers talking about he's seen it all. Well, if he's seen it all, then he should never lose a game. Just because you've seen it all doesn't mean you know how that defense is going to react. And his receivers have to catch the ball, and his running backs cannot fumble the ball. So just because you've seen it all doesn't mean you know it all. There's a big difference. But I'm guessing those two should be the best games this coming weekend. And if not, if these are all blowouts or ugly and penalty-ridden, then what's the point? I really won't care who wins the NFC or AFC championship games, and I really won't give two shits who goes to the Super Bowl. I already know I'm not going to watch the Super Bowl halftime show. What a collection of clowns. I don't give a Snoop Dogg. I'm sick of his goat-smelling ass. But that's a subject for a different day, because there are several celebrities that are doing commercials that I've had enough of. And yeah, Aaron Rodgers is one of them. He just needs to take his double check and go back to LA and stay there and leave those people in Green Bay alone after the shenanigans he pulled this season. What a crock of shit really was. But those are my thoughts on. I tried to come up with a different acronym for the Super Wild Card Weekend. Super Wild Card Blowout. But even blowout doesn't cover the pathetic games we had to watch this weekend. Just horrible, horrible. All right, well, let's see how this weekend goes, and maybe we will have a more upbeat message come next Monday. If not, I'd like to say, well, I'll just wait for baseball, but the way that's going, I don't see them coming to any terms on this current lockout until maybe a week before pitchers and catchers have to report, and even then it's going to be up in the air. I mean, once again, the players want way too much. I mean, what they want from the minor leaguers, hey, kudos. Well, then you take the top 10% in MLB on the highest salaries, take a percentage of their pay, and send that down to the minors, because you're talking about 1,200 players. You want those guys paid more money? Chip in. You're making enough. Y'all can afford it, but they won't. And now they're wanting to get arbitration down to 2 years instead of 3, and they're using Vlad Guerrero Jr. as their poster boy. It's like, look what he did this year. And he's not eligible. He's got to play another year as a rookie on a rookie salary. He should be up for arbitration. He had a great year. What if he doesn't have a great 2022? What if he's another Dak Prescott or Elliott and underperforms? You're going to give the money back? No. So we'll see if the owners stick to their guns and have a backbone, or if they're going to do what they have done with every other player strike and just cave in. Hell, I just assume they go to scabs this year if they can't come to terms. We're just going to have open tryouts like they did. Was that 94? I'm probably wrong on that. Look it up. And we will go watch baseball. It might not be great, but we'll watch it. Because back when they did that, they actually reduced the price of the tickets because they still got the television contracts. And I think that's something to think about. I'm sick of player strikes. I'm sick of their greed. I'm sick of everybody blaming the owners. If you didn't have owners, you wouldn't have teams, but nobody wants to think about that. And then look at the payrolls that they're having to handle now. What's the lowest one? $85 million. How many of you can afford $85 million payroll plus the stadium rent? See, throw in all that, the stadium rent, the electricity, the concessionaires. Now they rent those places out, but you got to pay for their electricity, which you have in their rent, the water bills, the sewer bills, the trash bills, uniform bills. I can come up with a lot more on that list. So, you know, this deal of trying to break the owners and just point out, oh, they're just greedy. They're greedy. Well, so are the damn players. They're just as greedy, if not more so. And I just want to know, when are they going to hit the well and it's empty? And the owners, whether it's the MLB, whether it's the NFL, just throw up their hands and say, I can't sustain this anymore. And I'm not going to. It's not worth the headache. So I'm not selling it. I'm just shutting it down. And that's something I will leave you to think about. Y'all have a good day. That's Francisca. James Francisco.
Presents Mr. Cool. That's why they call me Mr. Cool. Tonight at 8, 7 Central. Hi, it's me again. Listen to this. Lake Airport